Okay, fantastic. So welcome everybody to How to Trade Cryptocurrencies with myself, Phil Carr, at the Gold and Silver Club. So during this session, we'll go through how to trade cryptocurrencies. We'll also be talking you through how to utilize what is happening in the markets right now, go through some live market analysis. We'll go through a watch list of trade ideas, and of course, the forecast of where we expect cryptocurrencies to be heading next as well. As always, we'll be answering questions and also providing live support as well. So any contributions are, of course, very welcome. Let me introduce you to the Gold and Silver Club. So Gold and Silver Club is regarded as the go-to authority on commodities trading as internationally respected experts. Our analysis and our opinions is regularly sought after for the metals, energy, cryptocurrency markets, and we're regularly sought by major financial television channels and publications, which includes Bloomberg, Reuters, CNBC, the Financial Times, the Wall Street Journal. Over the last 10 years, myself and my team of experts have trained and mentored thousands of private traders from all over the world with our exclusive research-driven strategies. For more information on the Gold and Silver Club, I'll give you two links. So one of those I'll put into the chat here, and it's definitely well worth doing this and taking advantage of the reports that we put out on YouTube. So we put out a fresh report yesterday just on crude oil. So if you haven't done so already, click on that link and go over to the YouTube channel, or just search that on YouTube and subscribe to our channel. So the Gold and Silver Club YouTube channel, we put out reports regularly on the commodity markets. You can find some of the cryptocurrency reports on there as well. Make sure you subscribe, of course, to binary.com, YouTube channel 2, where this recording will go up shortly afterwards. But the YouTube channel is where you will get all the complimentary reports. So make sure you go to those and subscribe to our channel to be kept updated of those. You can also, if you want to actually get access to all of the live trade alerts and all of the mentorship that we provide at the Gold and Silver Club, that link is www.jointhelivetradingroom.com. Okay, so that's how you can get access to our private services and become a private member of the Gold and Silver Club. Okay, good. So with that, so let's get going on cryptocurrencies. We're in interesting times at the moment. Ripple's up like 36% over the last 48 hours or so. We've got Bitcoin, which last night moved over $400 in the space of about 5 minutes to the upside. We had Ethereum last week, which was up 30% in the week. We're starting to see cryptos wake up a bit here. So it's interesting where we're poised at the moment. So just to give you a bit of background on that, Bitcoin, of course, is the original cryptocurrency, the one that started it all. Bitcoin was created and released in 2009 by Satoshi Nakamoto, an anonymous figure. Bitcoin has the biggest market cap to date, around 284 billion, overshadowing all of the other cryptocurrencies in the list. So the market dominance of crypto is up over 50% at the moment. And performance last year is why everybody has, of course, got so enthusiastic about Bitcoin, is because of the move that we saw last year, where Bitcoin started at $1,000 at the beginning of 2017, and at its peak, it surged to over $20,000. So we saw over 2,000% increase in Bitcoin. A lot of the other cryptocurrencies within the top 100 had much bigger moves than that as well, Ripple being a great example. It closed the year around $14,000, but overall, Bitcoin has had just an unbelievable performance over the last few years. What I want to just demonstrate to you today and go into a little bit more detail, one of the biggest questions that we get at the Gold and Silver Club on the cryptos is about the sentiment. When is it going to potentially break out? When can we expect the market to go up, and what sort of dates should you be looking at? Okay, so this is what I would pay attention to. So it's Bitcoin monthly return since 2014. September overall is not expected, on Bitcoin in particular, to be a stellar month. Normally it's a range-bound month. Sometimes it's a negative month, but most years, 2017, last year, and also 2016, 2015, it's not really expected to be an amazing month, September. It's more of a month of consolidation, sometimes negative on the month as well. And Bitcoin has been quite range-bound so far in September. What you want to pay a lot of attention to is that seasonality of October, November, and December. So last year we saw exponential gains. So it was up 48% in October, November was 54%, December was 39%. That was incredible as we saw the run up all the way up to 20,000. In 2016, though, still a strong, stellar month for October, up 14%, November up 6%, and December up 30%. And then October, we saw 30% in 2015, November was 21%, and then December 14%. 2014, we didn't get the same sort of performance. It was down 9% in October, up 10% in November, and December was 16% in the negative. But overall, the last 4 years, there's a very clear cyclical pattern at the end of the year, end of the quarter. And we haven't really seen the big run-up in 2018. So most of the year has been spent in a downward trend for cryptos. And as such, they've got a lot of catching up to do if we see this sort of performance later on in the year. So the median, the average price gain that we normally see in October over the last 4 years has been 22%, November 16%, December 22%. Consider last week that Ethereum, excuse me, rose 30% off the lows, and Ripple is up about 36% in the last 48 hours. So it should be interesting to see Bitcoin, how the price action goes from here. Some of the reasons been given about that performance that we might see in the later part of the year. You have to consider that some of the biggest financial hubs in the world, banking and so forth, they reside in London and New York. And this is the Northern Hemisphere. And the Northern Hemisphere, as such, you've got a lot more trading activity, a lot more traders are hunkered down over September, especially actually October, November, December. It's winter in the Northern Hemisphere. Generally, more traders and investors, they're staying indoors. They're not on holiday as much, and they're just trading more actively. They're making investment decisions. They're trading. They're accumulating. And you could see potentially more volume go into the market over this period, over October, November, and December during the winter months than you would see in the summer months where more traders are just away generally, okay? Now, this is what we've seen in terms of some of the breaking news items. So we've seen Ripple here surging 36% over the last 48 hours or so. So that's been one of the major news items that we've seen in terms of overall sentiment here. This was quite interesting. So this was last week. Michael Novogratz, who's a famous fund manager, he has essentially, this is quite big news on Bloomberg, was reporting on it, Reuters last week as well. He called it on Twitter. Basically, he's calling for a bottom here. And what he's saying is that the exponential rally and bubble that we saw over 2017, so at the end of last year, where we saw this breakout with Bitcoin, where it went up exponentially, a lot of other cryptos as well over the final quarter, that bubble has, all of the gains from that bubble and parabolic phase have retraced. And Ripple, for example, when it broke out above 25 to 30 cents this time, around this time last year, actually more significantly around November, December, and it went up to $3, okay? That was incredible. I mean, that was over a 10x in price in a very short period of time. So we saw that incredible move up for Ripple, and Ripple then gave back all of those gains and all the way back to 25 cents. So during that manic phase, it is given back all of those gains. Now, potentially a great buy opportunity for those on the sidelines ready to get back in. Not so great for those who FOMO'd and chased it and bought in at $3 and have gone through a huge correction where if they bought at $3 going back to about 30 cents is over a 100% move to the downside. More than 95% of your position there would have been evaporated if you'd bought in right at the highs. So of course the trick is to buy at the lows, sell at the highs, which we all know. But with cryptocurrencies, more specifically, you want to be buying when there's a bit of fear in the market and not buying when there's greed in the market, when everyone's chasing a move like we saw at the end of last year. So Michael Novogratz is calling it, as of last week, that the low in the crypto market is in. And we started to see some potential signs of that with Ethereum rallying last week. And then we saw Ripple this week, and Bitcoin was up like $400 off the lows yesterday. What I like to track is the fear and greed in the market. So the fear and greed index. So as of today, extreme fear is at 21. So the market is still pretty fearful. If you read a lot of mainstream media, most of that is about cryptocurrency is fairly negative right now, that crypto is going to zero or cryptocurrency is worthless. And a lot of that is really negative press right now, unless you're getting financial news feeds like Reuters or Bloomberg, and you can see the developments in the market and what is happening from a technical point of view and what's happening from a technology point of view, which is just the infrastructure there is growing every single day. But if you pay attention just to mainstream media, from a contrarian point of view, most of that is fairly negative. If you talk to friends and family out there who don't really have much of a clue, they've never invested in cryptos or they've been burnt by buying at the highs, probably if you tell them you're investing in crypto or you're trading it, they will tell you you're mad or sell, or you don't want to be getting into such a high risk asset class. That's the overall sentiment from the general public. They don't understand it, and for the most part, they'll think you're getting into a very risky market unless you really know what you're doing. And that marries up with extreme fear, right? So extreme fear last week was down to 14. So when everybody is fearful in this market right now, is typically marrying up with accumulation. So look at the extreme, the fear and greed sentiment. We're at the lower end of the range where fear is accumulation time. It's a time where you should potentially be looking to build positions. And the best way to summarize cryptocurrency trading investing is accumulation. So maybe don't be as focused on the price, but how many have you got? So how many Litecoin do you own? How many Ripples do you own? How many Bitcoin do you own? How many Ethereum do you own? How many Litecoin? And all of those major cryptos, whatever coin that you're looking to buy or build positions in, obviously when the price is much lower, you can accumulate a lot more. And they had a documentary about one of the Bitcoin millionaires, about 18 years old, and he has talking about this program saying, I never focused on the price. I just wanted to get as many Bitcoin as possible. And it was just about accumulation. And you can see that, right? So with respect to Ripple and other cryptocurrencies, potentially what you want to be more focused on is you can buy a lot more right now with the market being this low, with Ripple now around 35 cents, whereas it was at $3 at the beginning of the year. So how many could you have bought at the beginning of the year when it was $3 versus 30 cents now? Or how many Litecoin can you buy now that it's at $54 instead of 350? This is from a longer term point of view. As the market develops and it gets more infrastructure, you get more user adoption, and you start to build out within the infrastructure. There is a major news item, which is the Backed Exchange, which is due to go live in November. A lot of traders or investors, they're focused on the ETF. When is the ETF going to happen? But you can Google this. The Backed Exchange, spelled B-A-K-K-T, is supposed to come live in November, which is backing from the ICE and the New York Stock Exchange. And basically, they've got a big partnership. They're partnering with Starbucks on a payment processor. And if that goes through, if that is towards the end of the year going into next year, can you imagine if you can go into Starbucks and pay for a coffee with Bitcoin or Litecoin or any major cryptocurrency? That would be huge. Something like that would be a game changer in the crypto space and would provide more mass adoption to the market. It's what probably the market would need in order to see this big institutional capital come into the market and retail traders start to get back in as well. That said, you need to know what you're doing in the cryptocurrency market. You need to know a strategy for trading it, for investing it, and you need to have some awareness about this technology as well. So from a very basic point of view, on binary.com, as an example, you can trade and you can actually utilize the platform via cryptocurrency trading. They enable you to be able to trade, make withdrawals and deposits with cryptocurrency. So just from a infrastructure point of view and a day-to-day transaction point of view, if you make a withdrawal, for example, on binary.com platform, and you're choosing between Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, this is the sort of time that you would look at, okay, or any major exchange. Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, they take quite a long time. So Bitcoin, if you do a transaction, you ping it from one exchange to the other, it can take around 45 minutes, 60 minutes for Bitcoin Cash, 45 minutes for Bitcoin. The cost, it changes all the time, but it's around $2 to make that transaction on Bitcoin. Bitcoin Cash is cheaper, it's around 21 cents. If you do a transaction in Ethereum, it's much faster than Bitcoin. You're looking at about 5 minutes. You can ping that or make withdrawals or move it between exchanges. It's pretty fast. Litecoin is very cheap to do transactions. It's the cheapest. So it's around 12 cents or so. It will depend on the price of Litecoin at the time, but it's pretty cheap and it's fast as well. So it's around 12 minutes. Litecoin, in terms of scalability, has the biggest potential, and Ripple as well, which is what the banks are looking to use. The costs are tiny and the speed is extremely fast. So banks are looking to adopt it so that they can avoid SWIFT charges, which the charges that they currently incur, which is if they do interbank transfers, it costs a fair amount of money, and it also takes several days. You know, if you send money internationally, that it can take 3 or 4 working days for it to clear, whereas with something like Ripple, it can take 3.3 seconds. The scalability is huge, and the cost is a fraction of that. So you can see mainstream adoption is likely to head that way. But Litecoin is also very fast and very cheap and has potential for a lot of scalability. What we saw last year with the big uptake in Ethereum is the whole Ethereum network got clogged up. And with the usability of it, as you started to see, a lot of users it was being utilized a lot by a lot of gaming sites at that time. I think it was towards the final quarter of last year. If you're making transactions on the Ethereum network, it was getting clogged up due to the frequency of transactions, and it was taking a few hours as opposed to 5 minutes. And it's because of the scalability of Ethereum is not that great. If you get loads of users on the network, it's the scalability of it, like Bitcoin as well, it's not that good. Whereas Litecoin, offers to provide a solution for that because its scalability is huge. You can get a lot of transactions on the Litecoin network versus Ethereum or Bitcoin. So that's a bit on speed, cost, scalability, and there's argument that Litecoin could really catch up to Bitcoin prices quickly as you start to see more mainstream adoption for that as well. So if you don't know what Ethereum is, Litecoin, and so on, let me fill you in. So Ethereum is known as Ether. It's a cryptocurrency for Ethereum, decentralized platform that can execute peer-to-peer smart contracts. As of September 2016, Ethereum was split into two. So you've got Ethereum and then you've got Ethereum Classic. Okay, so those Ethereum Classic has recently been onboarded on Coinbase, and it's trading around about $10 to $11 at the moment. So that's the cheapest crypto which has been offered on the Coinbase platform right now. And last year it traded up to around $45, $50 at the peak, and it's trading around about $10 to $11 at the moment, and you can buy that on Coinbase as well. Ethereum prices last year, they started off the year around $5 or $6, and they finished up the year, they managed to break at the peak up to around $1,400. So over 5,900% growth on Ethereum, which was incredible move towards the end of last year. Ripple as well. So Ripple is a real-time currency exchange settlement system and remittance network. The cryptocurrencies are called Ripples, and it was released in 2012 with a current market cap at the time of 18 billion. Ripple system has been successfully integrated into a number of major banks and payment systems to reduce costs, as I've just mentioned on the scalability side. So Ripple was trading within the really low levels last year, in a few cents at the beginning of the year in 2007. And then it rallied all the way up towards the end of last year to $3.50. So incredible move to the upside. Even if you got in around 15 to 20 cents, which has stayed around that consolidation all summer until we got into November, and then very quickly went up by over 1,000% to the upside. We saw it go from 30 cents to $3 within the space of about a month. It was incredible. And now we've given back all of the, Ripple as a market has given back all of those gains, and now it's back to that buy zone again of 30 cents. Then we have Litecoin, which was released in October of 2011 by former Google employee Charles Lee as an alternative to Bitcoin. Very similar to Bitcoin, can be mined, used as currency, transacted for goods and services as well. So Litecoin is much faster than Bitcoin, and last year it also broke out towards $350 before it's now corrected. It's all the way back to $50, so it's very undervalued at the moment as well. Performance in 2017 also had a stellar year. Over the summer of last year, it was trading around $50 and then broke out to $350 at the end of last year, so exponential growth. But we're back in that accumulation zone again. So what you want to bear in mind when you're looking at cryptos is the stages of adoption in every market cycle. And we're in still a transition between innovation and early adoption. We're nowhere near late majority, and we're nowhere near the laggards. You've not got your grandma buying coffee with Bitcoin or sending you Ethereum for your birthday just yet. So where we are at the moment, we're definitely at the beginning phase. We're going from innovations to early adoption phase, and we're still right at the beginning of this cycle. Now, bear in mind some of the curriculums now coming out for financial exams out there are now including cryptocurrency. So you need to know about cryptos, Bitcoin, Ethereum, how they're transacted in, and it's becoming part of curriculums out there for regulation and also financial exams. So it's here to stay. It's not a fad. It's not something which is just here for the short term and it's going to go away. Institutions would not be spending this much money on building out infrastructures and creating cryptocurrency trading desks. Barclays is one of the leaders in doing that. They're partnered with Coinbase. They've got a cryptocurrency trading desk, and you wouldn't see this much infrastructure being built out if it wasn't here to stay. But we're still very much in innovation to early adoption phase. So we're going through, and the reason I say that is that a lot of cryptocurrencies right now, I mean, even Litecoin to a certain extent, they're not being used day to day. You don't have adoption on them. They're not being used for transactions. You're not paying in a lot of you, unless you're based in countries which are very cryptocurrency friendly, you're not paying for a lot of items in cryptocurrency yet, or you're not utilizing that maybe on a day-to-day basis for your transactions. But that could change as we head into early adoption. So we're still right at the beginning, but you've actually potentially been gifted a second opportunity where if you missed out on that incredible manic phase at the end of last year, and as long as you didn't FOMO and buy at the highs, not sitting on these dramatic pullback in prices, or even if you put that to one side and you're able to look at the market right now with a cool head and just see where we are at, we are at this sort of transition between innovator to early adoption phase at the moment. It's not to say that we might not stay range bound a bit longer, because my anticipation is that we're not going to fully get going again until right at the end of the year. But around November and December is my timeline when we could really see things go and get going. But right now, it's still a lot of fear in the market, a lot of accumulation. Most people out there, general public, are pretty negative about crypto. Either they haven't heard of it or they don't want to know about it at all. So we're still at that sort of early stages, innovation stage to early adoption phase. Okay, so I hope that gives you a bit of background on cryptos right now and where we are at within this whole space. So what we need to look at next is some of the technicals as well. So where are we actually poised with the crypto markets in terms of overbought, oversold conditions at the moment as well. So let me bring that out. I'm going to show you two different sites here. We'll have a look at MT5. We'll also look at another platform as well. So let me bring those out, and I'll do both. So I'm just going to share my screen with you. So you should see that very shortly. Okay, right, just quick check-in. Everyone can see my screen okay? Yeah, fantastic. Thanks, Sharice. Okay, so we'll just go through here. I'll flip between them both. So we've got, go into binary MT5. I'll just show you here because I've got some of my technical levels on MT4, which I can't transfer over to MetaTrader 5. Okay, so these are just Keltner channels, pivots, and so forth, which I think I need to show you on the chart before we go back over to MT5. Okay, so let's have a look first of all at Ripple. So this is Ripple accumulation phase as well, which has been all down to the lower level of the zone that we broke out from last year, okay, and that was the previous level. And this is what Michael Novogratz is on about, okay, that we have come back to this. We've given back all of the gains from the manic phase that we saw at the end of last year, so November, December. This manic move that we saw to the upside, we've given back all of those gains now. It's taken 9 months, but Ripple and a lot of other cryptos have given back all of those gains. But now, the previous resistance becoming support, Ripple here bounced around the 24-cent zone, and now it's up like 31% so far this month. A breakout from the 27-cent zone, now trading at 36 cents. So we've seen quite a significant move. Very tradable as well in the MT5 platform. And we're seeing a move back towards a previous neckline here around 36 cents at the moment. That move has already occurred. So Ripple, you don't want to chase it, you don't want to FOMO it. And it has the hallmarks here, the accumulation zone, the breakout, the lower Keltner channel, everything technical is all playing out. So basically, where I'm looking at this, is probably going to encounter some resistance between 35 to 40 cents. Upper Keltner channel, the accumulation zone is at the lower Keltner channel. What I would look at, which hasn't bolted yet, is Litecoin. I have a buy signal on Litecoin. Currently, it's trading at $54. Found support at the lower Keltner channel as well. Probably you'll see a consolidation and suddenly a pop, something similar to what we've seen on Ripple here. So Ripple, for me, the zone to buy in is, Litecoin is between 45 to 55 US dollars per coin. And we're right in that accumulation zone at the moment for Litecoin. So it's right at the lower Keltner channels, springboarding off that zone. This is the buy zone, the accumulation zone for Litecoin. Ethereum as well. So we had this significant sell-off last week with Ethereum, and where we're poised at the moment, we're springboarding off $200. The range I'm looking at is $190 to $230 at the moment for Ethereum. That's consolidation range. The closer you can get to $200, I see that as the buy zone, lower Keltner channels at the moment. What I would look at for Ethereum is to break above this neckline at about $227. If we break above 230, we should shoot back towards 250, and above that around the $300 level. Okay, so I'm looking for follow through. Once we get a break above that neckline, I think we could have quite a significant reversal along the same lines that we've seen with Ripple here. So just completely reverse that breakdown in price that we've seen over August here. And I think that could come in over the next couple of weeks here for Ethereum. Between now and the end of the month, I say it's higher probability for the price to go up than much lower. I'm looking at support 190, resistance at 230. If we breach 230, then I'm looking for a breakout back towards $300, okay, on Ethereum. And then we'll move it over to Bitcoin Cash. So Bitcoin Cash at the moment as well, very much in the accumulation zone at around the $450 zone here at the moment. I'm actually sitting at 431 monthly pivot. Got a buy signal at the lower Bollinger Bands and Keltner channels as well. I could easily see that getting back towards the $500 level between now and really as we go into October. We're still accumulating in that accumulation zone, and we're still getting a lot of support at the lower Keltner channels here as well. Okay, so that's just some of the zones. Then we'll go over to Bitcoin. This was quite interesting yesterday. Okay, so Bitcoin had last night this sell-off, broke down towards $6,000 and then capitulated and broke out to $6,500. Complete reversal here that we saw on Bitcoin within the space of about 5 minutes. And that tells us a lot of big buy orders came into the market. They reversed the position here very quickly, the Bitcoin driving the price back towards 6,500. So some big whale has been filled on their buy order, which has been triggered about 6,100 to see the price move $400 in such a short period. And normally those sort of capitulations moves, I've got a buy on Bitcoin right now, got a buy signal, would result in some good follow through. I suspect that Bitcoin from here is going to move back towards $6,600 between now and the end of the month that the low is in at the moment. We're building a bit of a base here, but it hasn't got going in the same sort of way that Ripple has and Ethereum over the last week. But we're still back at the lower end of the Bollinger Bands and the Keltner channels. If you want to remember something very straightforward, is you want to be buying, the Keltner channels and Bollinger Bands are a little bit similar, and I'll show you on MT5 shortly. Accumulation zone is at the lower Keltners and lower Bollinger Bands, and the level to take profit off the table is at the upper Keltner channels and the Bollingers, because we're still range bound. Cryptos are range bound. We've not moved into that parabolic phase again yet. So it's not at a level right now where you necessarily need to be buying and chasing the moves. You want to just buy at the accumulation zones and then take profit at the upper Keltner channels, okay? So, and the upper Bollinger Bands. So with that, I'll show you what I mean here. We'll have a look at the levels, and I'll show you first of all Ripple. So Ripple is a good example. So the way you can set this up, let me see if I can just bring you over to a raw chart here on MT5. Yeah, that will work nicely. Okay, so for everyone who's on MT5, and if you haven't got MT5 already, what you need to do, you can now get this if you're European clients, so if you're based in the UK or Europe, MT5 is now available to you on binary.com, and you can trade the cryptocurrencies on there. So it's great, you've got access to cryptos now. All you need to do is go within your binary.com platform and go to, in your login, on the top right-hand corner, you'll see a tab where you can go to MetaTrader 5, click on MetaTrader 5, and from there, you will be able to bring out an application to get set up with the platform. Then you download it. You'll have a portal for MT5, and you can download MT5. It will look like this at first. It will be a raw chart. You'll have Market Watch on the left. What you want to make sure is you've got all of the markets. So when that comes up, right-click on MT5 here, and if this is a bit quick, go back and watch the recording for sure. I'll try and repeat it a couple of times, but basically, you want to bring out your Market Watch. You want to right-click, go to Show All. That will bring out all the cryptos at the bottom here. You have a raw chart, which will look like I'm showing you at the moment, so that's not that good to do analysis on. So you then go back to, for example, let's look at Bitcoin. We bring out BTC USD. So there we've got the Bitcoin chart, and now we need to make the chart more interactive and user-friendly. So go to right-click on the chart, go to Properties, left-click on Properties, and then from here, get rid of the grid. Bar up, keep it as lime. Bar down, I'll just go for red. Bull candle, I'll go to lime. Bear candle, we'll go back to red, and then just do OK. Put it into candlesticks at the top here. Okay, so go onto candlesticks, change that to candlesticks, go to D1, which is daily chart, which is our preferred way to view the chart, but you can move it into H1, which is the hourly, or H4, 4-hour, D1, and so forth. So that's our preferred way to look at the chart. Also, you can flip the chart and just move it to the side, because at the moment, I want to zoom in. So I'll go to this chart tab at the top, shift end of the chart from right border, okay? It's this button here. I'll probably get that by, can I get it by right-clicking? Yes, I can. So auto scroll, I think it's auto scroll. No, chart shift. So if I right click, if I just right click and go to chart shift, that will bring my chart, that will center it. Okay, so that's better. Then I want to just zoom in on that chart shift it again. So there we go, I can see Bitcoin much more clearly. From a indicator point of view, what we'll do is I'll go and put on the Bollinger Bands, okay? So I'll go to insert indicators trend Bollinger Bands, and I'll do OK. Some of my indicators from MT4, they don't move across to MT5, so I'm utilizing the indicators which are available on the MT5 platform. Bollingers are really good for trading crypto, because most of the major cryptocurrency exchanges, when you're going through the charting, they have an automatic option for Bollinger Bands. So when loads of traders are looking at the same information on the cryptocurrencies, a lot of them are tending to buy and sell from the Bollingers. Okay, you can see that with resistance of the Bollingers, support at the lower Bollingers. Then we can see here, if we just want to draw on, for example, a support zone, so very clearly Bitcoin higher lows. It's building up these higher lows at the moment. We've also, though, we've got lower highs as well. So we're basically building up into a bit of a pennant here and a resolution. I think we could certainly see a rotation back towards the midpoint here, back towards about 6,500, and then potentially a move back towards the upper Bollinger Band, about 7,300, as we go between now and the end of the month. I am, though, expecting the potential for another sell-off again at the beginning of October, back in filling until we get past about mid-October, and then November is when I'm really looking for go time on the cryptos as the backed exchange potentially goes live. And there's a lot of other developments within technology and crypto which could happen over November and December. And we know from a cyclical point of view, it's normally November and December where the crypto markets really heat up. And we'll keep you updated on that because we'll do more crypto webinars with you and binary.com later on in the year too. So we'll be tracking that. We'll talk you through it. But from a very basic point of view, this is how you can then start to trade them. If you were looking to take a position, you can right click here and you can go to one-click trading, or you can just go to new order. So you bring up a new order, and here BTC US dollar, you pick your volume, your dollar or pound per point here, put on your stop, always put on the stop loss and the take profit on your trades. You put in all the criteria that you're looking to take the trade, and that's how you would do it via the binary MT5 platform. Okay, so then what I would do after you've done that, my preferred way of moving between the charts is not setting up lots of different charts at the bottom. What I do is once I've got a template like I have on Bitcoin, I go from left to right. So just drag it like Ethereum, drag it into the center of the chart. And then you've got Ethereum here, which I believe is on the verge of a potential breakout back towards the upper Bollinger Bands, been consolidating over the last week here. So I like Ethereum for a buy at this level. Target at the moment is 230, support at 190 right now, but I'm looking for a further breakout on that as well. Litecoin is still at a bit of an accumulation zone, consolidating around $55. If it can break and clear above the midpoint of the Bollinger, which matches up with the 20-day moving average, I think we could shoot for a move up to around $66 on Litecoin. That's back in the accumulation zone as well. Bitcoin Cash, tradable on binary.com as well, just consolidating at the 430 zone. Could certainly see a move back to the midpoint here of $500, possibly a move back up to 641 on a full-on breakout here as well. So those are really what we're looking at the moment on the cryptos. And I'll go through it one last time for those of you who may not be set up, okay, to trade them in this way. So let me bring it out to a raw chart again. So let's just bring out a raw chart. This is what you will see when you initially bring out. So when you download, so again, within your binary.com portal, if you've been set up with binary, if you're not set up already after the webinar, I think you'll get an automatic generated link there where you can set up with an account. But binary.com allows you to trade on via MT5 now and with cryptos. Within your login portal, so when you go on binary.com, the top right-hand corner will have a drop-down. Go to MetaTrader 5, and from there, you want to set up the account, download platform, okay? Once it's set up, then you'll have this platform, and it will be like this. So you want to make sure Market Watch, right-click, show all. That way, you'll get all of the markets on the left there, okay? And then you want to just scroll down and find, of course, Bitcoin. And then from there, this is the chart which you've got. So you right-click, go to Properties. From Properties, take off the grid, go to bar up, line or green, bar candle. You can type it in or click on the drop down here, which I'm doing at the moment. Bar down, we want as red. Bull candle, we want as green. Bar down, red. Bear candle is red as well. And then we'll go to OK. Change it into candlesticks, otherwise you'll have these bar charts, candlesticks. The time frame here is the hourly, and you can have it on the hourly if that's your preference, but I tend to like to do the analysis on the daily. Okay, you can zoom in and zoom out of the chart here as well. And then what I would do, just from the crypto point of view, is go to trend, add on your Bollinger Bands. You've got those just set to deviation of 2, period 20. Do that. You've got the 20-day moving average at the midpoint there, and you've got the price action that the cryptos are ricocheting on at the moment. I do have more in-depth indicators than that you can see here, for example, that I'm not utilizing, as well as the pivots, a lot of other levels as well. But on MT5, it's quite nice because you've got these automatic levels which are just generated via the Bollingers, which you can add. You can add all the moving averages or any other indicators that might be your preferred indicators to that as well. So for example, I can add the 50-day moving average onto there as well. Could add also a couple of additional moving averages as well, such as the 21 at MA and 200-day moving average and so forth, which are just some of the classic moving averages as well. So I hope that helps, guys. I hope that gives you a bit of clarity in terms of how to trade the cryptocurrencies on the binary MT5 platform as well. If you want more training on that, if you want one-to-one tuition, or just want to become a member of the Gold and Silver Club as well, there is an opportunity for you to do so. Join us on the private members trading program. The link for that is www.jointhelivetradingroom.com. Again, I would suggest you can just go to our YouTube channel. The link is also below all of our videos. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. We put out regular updates on the commodity markets as well. So definitely suggest you do that. If you want to join us on the live trading room program, you will get access to the real-time trade alerts, mentorship, expert advice. The alerts are via WhatsApp, email, SMS, so you don't miss out on trades. You get in-depth market analysis, and we can help you, of course, to know earlier how to act quicker on trade opportunities in the markets as well. So here is the link, and I've also put the link there to the Gold and Silver Club. If you're watching the recording of this via YouTube, just go and search Gold and Silver Club on YouTube. Loads of videos will pop up, and subscribe to our channel there as well. Okay, fantastic. So with that, I thank you all for your time today. It's been a pleasure. Thanks very much to Sharice and the team at binary.com for hosting today's session. I wish you all good trading, all the best, and we'll of course see you on the next one. Okay, thanks everybody. Take care and good trading.